Wisdom about spirituality, about life, about everything comes to a divine feminine very naturally on her journey. Even if you have never been inclined towards understanding things or, deeply thinking about things, you've not been a deep thinker or anything, it doesn't make a difference. What happens is that there is a lot of shift that takes place from your previous way of being to your new way of being as you awaken on the journey. Earlier, maybe, your wisdom or your intelligence was very limited to, let us say, something you read, something you saw, something you listened to, and you could just assimilate, ideas by just using the intellect. But what is the difference between intelligence, or the intellect and the wisdom? They are two very different things. Wisdom is very different from intellect because wisdom comes from a lot of awareness of the self, which then permeates into awareness of other things around me. So the more, if you are more self-aware, the more meditative you are, the more you are aware of even your thoughts, your emotions, you understand everything. Maybe you have a very friendly subconscious. With great awareness, you can see the mind, you can see the, core blocks, that core wounds that have essentially triggered your mind. You can see and feel your emotions. You can have a deeper questioning within yourself. One way is this. Another way is to just simply be in awareness of the now moment, completely disconnected from any kind of a thought, just being meditative. That self-awareness allows you to translate it outside. So now when you open your eyes, you see everything with the same awareness. You're seeing suddenly, if you're sitting in your room, you're seeing the sofa more comfortably. You're seeing, the television more comfortably, completely, like the edges of everything. You're able to just see everything. If somebody comes and says something to you, you are able to see what that person is saying. You are able to sense what the inner drive is behind them saying something that is also important. Sometimes people are triggered and they are acting like that. You can also sense that what their wounding is that is making them behave in a certain way. That makes you very self-aware and that makes you wise. Now this awareness has led to wisdom. Okay, now you understand how things are working. You are understanding the causes of things, the true causes of things. You don't have to intellectually read about the causes of things. Okay, very recently, I'll give you an example. Not very recently, but maybe quite some time back, I'd say a year or so, back, I was speaking to a friend, and this friend and I, we used to be colleagues, we used to discuss a lot of things when I used to work with him about, politics and economy, etc. This is before, my twin flame journey. So, what happened was, last year I was helping this friend of mine with some issues that, this friend was going through in, his own personal life about some self-esteem related issues that I could clearly see were present with him. So I started to guide him and, I just sent him a few voice notes on WhatsApp where I started to tell him, okay, this is happening because of this, you look into this and like that, and etc. etc. Okay. So after this, he's like, you sound so wise. It is very clear that you are spending your time reading a lot. And I laughed loudly and I said, I don't read at all. At that time, I was somehow just so off, reading and everything. So I just said, I don't read at all. It's only now, that I have somewhere here and there, I tend to read, spiritual stuff, which draws me in, but I'm not very committed, to finishing a book or something like that. I just take in the information that is necessary. It's not an intellectual activity, to read or anything. It's just an expansion of, your knowledge that you are naturally drawn to. So this is just how it is. When you are only of the intellect, you will think that knowledge will come to me through reading. People, in the matrix world will say something like, read more to be more knowledgeable. read this book, read that book, do you want to read more books, you should read a book every week, you should finish a book, or these are the books I read this year. There is a page called Goodreads, a website where when I was in college, we used to intentionally, as 18-19-year-olds, we made Goodreads accounts because Goodreads was very new and up and coming at the time, and we would add each other on Goodreads and then try to keep showing to the other, that I have read these many pages of this book, and this is the book on my to read list, or this is the book I have already read. It became a whole show off, like the Instagram of reading, right? Intellect can also be extremely, you might say, shabby, and extremely, for lack of a better term, vain. This is of course vanity of the intellect. You're trying to say I'm intellectual, but you're as vain as the next person, whom you consider to be inferior to you because you are too smart for them. Okay, so intellect has nothing to do with wisdom. You may have never had been drawn towards reading, or you may have been, but the way you will spiritually grow, the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual wisdom comes from awareness. It comes from awareness of the self. It comes from deep awareness and understanding of the workings of your mind, your emotions, and somehow in this, when you are exploring how the mind works, etc., you will come across, you might read also, you might do some research also, whatever, it happens naturally to you. There is a natural flow of understanding something. Okay, and by understanding the machinations of your own being, you can now understand the machinations of life, as well as how other people are also feeling, behaving, and how they are perceiving life to be. You can start understanding energies. You can start understanding the ebb and flow of life. Okay, you can start understanding the core energy of a person and what they are drawing into their life based on that energy. Okay, you can also start understanding how different shifts take place as solar flares happen, or as the evolution, the awakening of the earth is taking place, how different beings are responding to that, right? You can understand this in your own life, how cycles are playing out in your own life, how various old ways of thinking are collapsing and new ways of being are emerging from that, how sometimes old cycles are repeated to go deeper. You can start seeing that in your own life, you can start seeing it in other people's lives. So all of this is wisdom of awareness. It has some intellect here and there. Maybe the intellectual part will be that you supplement it with information from ancient texts or very good spiritual texts written by realized beings, realized sages, realized masters. They can plug in the holes in your information. So that really does, but that comes naturally. It's not about buying 100 books and poring over the books. You never approach spiritual texts with an intellectual curiosity. You approach them with a certain spiritual reverence. Okay, so that also happens. It's not just that you're reading the Upanishads, so that is why reverence is needed. Even in general, you might be reading a book, you understand it, that this is something which is very important to me as I am spiritually ascending. So this will bridge in that gap for me. So there is a certain reverence as well as a certain understanding about what you're going to take from it. It's not about absorbing or reading the whole thing cover to cover, or trying to dissect something. You don't even dissect the knowledge. You just absorb the information, especially the information that comes from direct, the realized beings, the realized masters. There is great wisdom in their speech, as well as if they have written something or their speech has been, converted to text, which is often, what we saw has happened over the years, over the centuries and the millennia. So that by itself has great wisdom. So it impacts you on various levels. More than the mind, it also impacts you at the level of your energy. It brings you peace, it brings you a certain upliftment. It's something you absorb very deep within you. Okay, so this is what basically allows you to develop your own wisdom, and naturally your wisdom will develop. And sometimes what might happen is that if this is your spiritual purpose, your soul purpose, some of you ask me about soul purpose, to share spiritual wisdom or to become like a spiritual guru, in your own capacity, in what you can offer to somebody, um, if that has happened, then even your previous way of living, which might even be your past lives, but even your childhood, your schooling and all that information will play a role. Okay, so it can also be that maybe as a child you were fond of reading or something like that, so now also you may have an openness towards reading spiritual texts also. Okay, it will not be very hard for you, or you developed very good language skills, language skills in speaking, in writing. Then for your soul purpose also, now those skills you would have taken for granted all your life. You would have thought, yeah, so what, everybody speaks, everybody writes, it's not such a big thing. Or the circles you moved around in, everybody was like that. But herein you start taking these gifts that you had invisibilized or you had taken for granted, they become the main gifts for you. So your speech can be very potent. Your language, the ability to use any language, whatever is your native language or whatever is the spoken language that you have, the ability to use the language to explain something clearly, that also is something that develops. Now this, you delving into the language, could have come from your childhood, right? It could have come from the schooling, your reading habit, or whatever it is, or your own training in the language, right? That also contributes to it. So there is a certain flow. So for all of us, there is always a flow. For every human being, in fact, every human being has divine gifts in them. Some people are great artists, some people are great poets. Art and poetry always flows from the heart. It never flows from the mind. It never flows from anything base. It's not about something any poetry or art which is uplifting, which is profound. It has always flown from the heart. It is not a reaction. It's not that I am angry, so I'm going to create angry art. That will bring other people down also, because you can translate your anger onto that page and others can feel it, and then sometimes art has that tendency also. Now I know if you're really very fond of art, you will say that art should not be judged in this way. But the idea is that it depends on the space from which you are creating, right? Poetry is very similar as well. In fact, here, because I like poetry and I read poetry and write poetry, I would like to add this, that what I've noticed is that I used to read poetry many years ago by Nobel laureates and very famous modern day poets as well. So I used to find them, they used to bring me down. Every time I would read a poem, it would be so sad and so depressed, especially the modern, classical poetry, the modern people who won Nobel Prizes, etc. in literature. Somebody would gift me a book, or I would buy a book, and it would bring me down, because it was, although the poetic expression was great, the use of imagery, metaphors, everything was very profound, very proper, very terse, very precise. Perhaps, mostly the poetry which is considered to be superior is blank verse. It doesn't have to have, sometimes it can have a cadence to it, but it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to rhyme, then it's not considered to be very superior in the world, So the poetry would structurally be perfect, but it would bring you down so much. Like, why was that poetry winning Nobel Prizes? I don't understand. If lakhs of people would then go read it, it would bring you down. Because it is about something, which has some trauma, which is not processed, which is being processed, some sadness being processed through the poetry, which should be personal to you. It should not be now that somebody else reads it and then somebody else starts feeling sad and starts feeling bad for you, because we are always interacting with each other through our vibrations. We are all one. So we should be careful and considerate about the footprint that we leave, right? So if you ever write sad poetry, it's best to sort of process your emotion yourself or with some help, and otherwise, than capitalizing on the poetry or whatever it is. So that's just my understanding and opinion. But anyway, As you spiritually awaken, your spiritual gifts are always about uplifting others, and they're not about bringing other people down. Of course, in the matrix this is not true. A gift is a gift, and it doesn't matter, whether it has a positive impact or it brings somebody down. Like, for instance, there are very critical opinion pieces written, or very critical hateful speeches given out. Nobody cares about the emotional impact on others who are at the receiving end of it. But it is lauded to be something great, right? So yeah, I mean, so your spiritual wisdom is also something which is uplifting for others, because it is obviously coming from awareness, and as aware and conscious beings we are naturally also uplifted. When you come in fact, awareness and conscious awareness, what ends up happening is that your state of conscious awareness also coincides with bliss and joy and peace. So the famous Sanskrit term Sat Chit Ananda, so it basically means that when you are in consciousness, you will experience bliss. So the truth of our existence is that we are consciousness, and in that state of consciousness, the conscious awareness, we are bliss. So naturally, from this space, when you will create something, whether it's a piece of poetry, a piece of art, or some spiritual wisdom that has brought you to this place, that is further explaining your own experiences, or is further expanding your consciousness, and you share this with others, then it is naturally going to uplift the other, because it's coming from this space. Okay, but yes, however, this can be triggering to the ego, because the ego, for instance, will not be open to messages about love or authenticity and other things. Sometimes it can be or compromise, because spiritual beings, spiritual gurus are always very triggering to the ego of the a realized master. Is very triggering to the disciple. If the disciple is extremely triggered by what the realized master is saying, it means that realized master is definitely the guru for this person, a spiritual guru. Because a guru, I was reading somewhere, a guru actually conducts an egodectomy. So it will remove your ego, right? So it's very triggering to the ego. So this is something which was written, that if you are triggered by a realized master, that person is definitely meant to be your guru. Was discussed extensively in Buddhist texts and sanghas and all of that. So basically, this is all I wanted to speak about today. I know I spoke of a lot of things, but essentially how spiritual wisdom develops for a divine feminine. She can also be very, spiritually wise. She is, after all, in the past, feminine energies were so wise that they were considered to be oracles. There are stories like that, about several feminine energy beings who were, through feminine devotion or their feminine energy alignment, awakening, they had become oracles for so many people around. And Saraswati herself is the goddess of wisdom, right? She resides in the upper chakras. So, but she's a feminine goddess. Okay. So it basically shows, when we celebrate Navratri. So this is the wisdom that was shared by Sadhguru that I am sharing, that we share the evolution of the Kundalini energy. We're sharing essentially the evolution of a human being, whether man or a woman, in his awakening, starting at the lower chakra, starting at the level of Durga, then at the level of Lakshmi, then at the level of Saraswati. So you always say, these are the Troika goddesses, like Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. All three are embodiments, very, very high order embodiments of the divine feminine, different aspects of the divine feminine. And the spiritual wisdom is also an aspect of the divine feminine. And it is different from intellect, which is more masculine. It is different from, dissective or analytical, necessarily, separating this from that and over-analyzing what you would do in a pre-awakened form, just based on the text. It is different from that. It can still use, these energy, these tools like analysis. Analysis is a good tool, but of course, that is a representation of the balanced form, because after all, we do exist, we coexist with our masculine energies within us. Whatever actions we take, if I am speaking right now, or I'm writing right now, or when you're eating your food, your actions are all coming from your masculine energy. Your state of being is all coming from your inner energy. You have both energies of feminine and masculine within you as an individual. Of course, in the twin flame connection, you and your masculine are operating as one unit, with you in the feminine, them in the masculine, but you also switch polarities from time to time, especially as you go through ascension. And as your masculine awakens, it also awakens your masculine energy, right? And that awakened masculine energy also brings about a lot of changes in you. The entire idea is to come into harmony and to come into balance. And of course, I have gone into explaining this, this difference in great detail in Patreon. If this is something you're curious about, there is a video I have posted on Patreon at tier 1 level, I think 2 weeks back, that you can listen to, where I have explained this exact thing about the awakening of the feminine, the dynamic between twin flames, the access of energies, to twin flames, and how they operate, etc. Yeah. In fact, Saraswati is the goddess of transcendence from the duality to non-duality. Your awakening is helping you to transcend duality. So, in some sense, it is like that. It is happening at the level of completely becoming a non-dualistic being, entering Samadhi. So, it is the feminine energy awakening which actually leads a human being towards Shiva, towards that awakening, right? So the various aspects of that feminine energy are represented through these 3 goddesses. And so many of you, if you are Hindu, especially, if you come from a South Indian culture, then you will already know this so much more and in such a better way, where these aspects are still maintained in temples. And accordingly, there are, in fact, I'd gone to a temple in, the southern part of India, where in the morning there was one goddess, beautiful temple, very old temple. And in the morning she would be worshipped as Durga, then in the afternoon as Lakshmi, and in the evening as Saraswati. So there is so much wisdom, that is still retained in these temples. And this is just how, of course, this is a little bit of a digression, but how sometimes cultural practices retain important information, but the information itself may not be well understood or, well explained. People in general may not know about that, okay, this is representative, of this, or this is representative of the awakening happening, or this is representative of the chakra systems or the energy, etc. But the essential part is that the practices are retained, right? So some of us who are more curious and especially going through this journey, we chance upon this information that that also gives us the deeper wisdom for this, right? So this is also a part of the feminine awakening. Okay. If you wish to work one-on-one with me, you can see the first link in the description box. You can see the types of sessions that I offer. We go really deep into these sessions, and we work at an intuitive level. So if you need any guidance, if you're feeling blocked in the journey, you need specific guidance to you, then you can book a session with me. You can subscribe to my Patreon. That's the second link in the description. Click on it and see the types of videos on there. And if you find them interesting, then you can subscribe. Sending you love. Have a beautiful day.